Hey guys, my name is Rebecca Hudgins, and I'm from the Highlands Fellowship Marion campus. And got the opportunity to speak on Sunday to the middle schoolers in the Abingdon. So Derek asked me if I would just share a little bit about what I spoke to them, to y'all today. So on Sunday, I spoke from Romans 12, verses 1 and 2. And I actually asked a teacher. I was praying one night and I was like, God, what do you want me to speak about? I was like, I don't know. And so I got that and I was like, okay, I think I need to speak about changing in our lives, changing in our hearts, changing in our minds. So I was talking to one of my teachers about it, and he was like, you know what that really reminds me of is Romans 12. So for like 2 weeks, I just read Romans 12 over and over and over. And verses 1 and 2 is what really just stuck out to me. So that's what I'm going to focus on today. Romans 12, verses 1 and 2 says, I appeal to you, therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual worship. I think it's really, really cool that we have a God that doesn't need our gifts, that doesn't need what other religions do, which is they have to constantly live perfect lives. They have to constantly be scared that if they don't live this certain way, then they're not going to go to heaven or whatever they call it. And you have to make sacrifices of animals and all that stuff. But our God just wants us to live for him. He wants us to love him because it tells us to present our bodies as a living sacrifice. And if you're wondering what that means, it goes on and it says, which is your spiritual worship. So I had to, whenever I was reading this, reevaluate my life and ask myself, am I living for him? Not just in church, not just in small group, not just in school, because I go to a Christian school, but am I just truly living for him whenever I'm alone or whenever I'm just talking to friends? In verse 2, it says, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. Sometimes we just have to take a step back from evaluating everybody else's lives and judging everybody else, seeing if they're living a perfect life, and reevaluate and renew our minds. Test our minds, because it says renew our mind, that by testing. So sometimes we have to think, am I gossiping a lot? Am I constantly looking at other people badly or thinking of myself more highly than them? Am I, I don't know, cussing a lot? Is that my regular vocabulary? Am I living how a Christian should live or living as a good example? And these are all questions that we all need to ask ourselves, not just you guys, but me as well, and everybody in the church. And so if you're wondering what that looks like, how do I know what to think about? Then I would turn to Philippians 4. And in Philippians 4, verses 8, it says, finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. What you have learned and received and heard and seen in me, practice these things, and the God of peace will be with you. This gives us a perfect list of how to test our minds. Are we thinking about what is pure? Are we thinking about the truth or just some gossip that we've heard? Are we thinking about something that's honorable, or are we constantly complaining? And it also says, I just realized I read through 9. And in verse 9, it says, when we do think about these things and when we do practice these things, it says, and the God of peace will be with you. And I don't know about y'all, but in this year where nothing is constant in our world, I definitely want peace, and I definitely want God to be with me, because in 2 Corinthians 10, it says that we have a divine power to destroy strongholds. It's not by our power that we can do this, but it is God's power. So I just want to challenge y'all 2 things today. One, to reevaluate yourself and your mind and read over these passages. And 2, if you're willing to take a step forward and realize that, I'm not living to Christ as I should be or as I could be. Maybe you are, but maybe you need to take a step forward. Then get in your word a little bit more. Get in the Bible for 5 minutes. Pray. Change your conversations to something that is more honorable to Christ or even about Christ to your friends. And just maybe listen to worship music. I don't know, whatever it is, but take a change, just one thing this week to have your life as a living sacrifice, and I'll do the same. Thank you, guys.